Hey y'all, welcome to my channel. My name is Toby and this is May's Morsels. I am on day 9. I'm counting down the 10 days before I go back to work. So today is day 9. I got a lot of things accomplished today that I'm excited to tell you about from my to-do list. So mainly I'm going to focus on, I'll show you a quick screen share of I set up my Seesaw class. I got a lot of PD done today, which was awesome because now I'm like, woo, don't have to worry about that. I am going to talk a little bit about one of the PD sessions because it deals with AI and I absolutely love AI. So please let me know if you use AI in your classroom and how you use it because man, it can save some time. Anyway, so I'm also going to go over, I worked on my IEP at a glances and kind of problem solved what I was going to give to classroom teachers and then what I was going to use for myself. So I'll kind of show you on Teachers Pay Teachers what I ended up purchasing. So thanks for joining me today and let's get started on day 9 before I head back to the classroom. Okay, so let's get started. One of the things on my to-do list was to set up my Seesaw class. Every year I use Seesaw in some way in my classroom because it is super accessible to students with disabilities, specifically kids who are deaf or hard of hearing. What I've noticed with a lot of learning platforms is for students who sign who have lower written English literacy skills, they don't have a way to voice their learning or write or type their learning. Seesaw offers students like that without a voice, like voice vocalizing, but they may have a voice through their hands. Seesaw offers videos that they can create a video of themselves telling what they've learned or answering questions. In the same regard, when I am teaching and I post lessons, I can post lessons in ASL because I can post a video of the instructions or the story or the math activity for the day and then create responses for students to then respond on screen to show their learning. I know with Canvas and some other LMS platforms that it has become a little more accessible, meaning students can I think students on Canvas can now provide a video to express their learning if the teacher checks that box for student responses. But again, Seesaw has been around for over 10 years. I started using it way back in Kentucky when it first came out, and I've just used it ever since every single year. So anyways, I set up my class, a new class portfolio every single year. So there's really not much on here because students join my Seesaw class when they log into their Chromebooks and then go to the Seesaw page. They actually log in with their email and their password for the district. So that's how they connect to my class. Really quick before I get off my little Seesaw bandwagon, Seesaw is having Connect 2024, which is 2 days of PD that you can join on and learn all about Seesaw and the updates. Some of the updates are amazing, like for Seesaw ambassadors and Seesaw certified educators. There's a whole activity library of lessons, and some of those this year with this new update include lessons for English language learners, which I sometimes pull from to build vocabulary with my students because some of my students are learning English as a second language, either in print, in reading, or auditorily if they use sign language. So this is my quick plug. You should register for Seesaw Connect 2024. If you cannot do the online courses in person, like to attend live when they're doing them, they will have on-demand sessions starting August 3rd. And if you're watching this video after 2024, just remember Seesaw Connect happens every single year. So you can just Google Seesaw Connect and it should take you to the website where you could register. All right, moving on from Seesaw. One of the other things on my list was to research becoming a Kami Certified Educator. I did find, I Googled Kami Certified Educator and a form populated on the website about, it's a like an application form, and I will put a screenshot of that over here so that you can see that. Basically, it's a really quick application of just your name, uh, your role, and then submit. And then it tells you once you submit it, you'll be redirected to the level 1 course page. You create a course profile and then just go through their program. So I'm really excited about that. I have not completed the form yet, but at least I know that it's a possibility for me to become a Kami certified educator. I will be showing you something on Kami a little bit later on this video, so just hang on till the end. Wait for the end. Do any of you already use Kami? It's spelled Kami, and it's an online PDF annotator.
For that, you'll have to check your network settings.
Oh, Google heard me say its name. Sorry. Anyways, do any of you already use Kami? Kami is another thing that I've been using forever, probably since it came out, because again, the free version is really good because students can type on PDFs. And if you pay for the annual subscription, I can insert pictures and videos onto a PDF, and then it also integrates with Canvas or Google Drive. So students can access those PDF files and see me signing the text aloud or reading the text aloud or giving a video explanation of what's on that page. So again, it also allows students to insert a video of themselves so they can express their learning in sign language or by speaking their answer on the page. Adding pictures as an annotation to a PDF is amazing for students who have lower than grade level vocabulary skills. So if there is a word on the page that I know that student does not know, I can insert a picture onto that PDF to support their understanding of their work. So it is just an awesome way to make grade level content more accessible for our students who are not functioning at grade level or at their language level. So I will get into more with Kami later. So next is my PD plan. I got on my district's website and I registered for 4 classes that kind of go in depth into Canvas, because Canvas is the learning management system that my district uses. And although I do not use it as much, I at least need to have a Canvas page that my students can access if I need to put anything up there for any reason. So I registered for the basic Canvas class just because I needed a refresher on all the components of Canvas. And then there were some other ones about how to edit pages using HTML, how to do student annotation on Canvas, because again, my students may not be able to complete work in a typical way. So if they can annotate their work in a different way, then that's beneficial. And so I want to know how Canvas can allow students to annotate their work. Because before, I don't know when that feature came to be in Canvas because I don't keep up with it, but I just know during COVID time back in 2020, Canvas was just not accessible for my students. It was just very difficult. So I am thankful for the updates that they've provided to make things more accessible for students with disabilities or students who learn differently. So then our district every year has required videos. I'm sure some of you also have required videos that you have to complete every single year. So I sat down and buddy, I put those videos on 1.25 speed and I just plowed through all of the videos for the district that are due starting August 31st. So I completed the DCS child abuse video, 504 training, bloodborne pathogens, the health services staff video, Title IX, has hazardous materials, human trafficking, and then the 90-minute suicide prevention video from the Jason Foundation. Can't speed those up. They didn't even have captions on them, so good luck if you're deaf or hard of hearing. I guess you can turn on live captions on your device to access those. But I completed all of those videos. I was up till so late doing those videos on day 9, but it was worth it because I checked that off and I do not have to do those videos. I'm done. I'm done. So I can move on to more like classroomy, teachery things instead of watching these videos once my contract days begin. One of the PD sessions I want to highlight is I attended, it's called Empowering Educators with AI, and it was done by the ed tech liaisons with my district, and it was an hour long, and it was phenomenal. I started using AI last school year. My husband is deep in the technology field. That's what he's done, and his brain is just wired to do technology and all that. So because he loves me, he sends me all kinds of links of like things that could apply to my job as an educator. And when he sent me stuff about AI, I was like, what? So I started using AI last year, mainly for generative images, because I work with students who have lower functional vocabulary. And so a lot of what I do, I have to teach academics through the lens of language. I can't just present a lesson to a student in reading or math and not consider the language level and the language supports that that student might need throughout that lesson. So using AI, if a student needed a picture of a concept, I could quickly type it into ChatGPT or some other ones, like the other one that is just updated like 2 days ago is meta.ai, where you can create images from a prompt. Canva also does that in their Canva Magic Studio. You can generate AI images. So, for instance, a student was reading a story about a sloth riding a llama, on the back of a llama, up a mountain. And the sign language interpreter is trying all different ways to try to get her to understand that concept. Number one, she didn't know what a sloth was. She did know llama because one of our sign language interpreters, that's her favorite animal, so she knew llama. Then she's not understanding that the sloth is on the llama because on is a prepositional. It's a position of where the sloth is in relation to the llama. And then she did understand mountain. So in that instance, if we would have had the generative AI going at that time, the interpreter could have quickly typed in, generate an image of a sloth riding on the back of a llama up a mountain. And that student would have instantly had connection to that sentence in English, and then they could have moved on with the rest of the lesson for that literacy part in the gen ed classroom. So I'm going to insert a picture or do an overlay of the picture that meta.ai generated with that prompt. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail about this session because it was a KCS provided training, but a couple things to keep in mind is that AI is great for productivity for teachers. Think about in your life, what prompt could you write for AI to do for you of your routine, mundane tasks so that frees up more time for you to focus on your instruction and deeper thinking about student success and learning or your environment or whatever you need mental space cleared up for to focus on. They also mentioned that 80%, there's an 80-20 rule. So 80% of your information can come from the answer to whatever prompt you gave AI and the answer that it gave you, but the human needs to go in and at least 20% of that needs to be human altered or edited. AI is not perfect. AI is sometimes discriminatory. AI is sometimes wrong. So the human is still important in this equation. Lastly, your prompt is super, super important. You think it's just easy that AI is going to take over and do everything for you, but if you do not put in the correct prompt, you are not going to get the information that you need help with. So they talked about the prompt needs to have an intro. You need to set the scene. Um, you need to give it a role. You need to state the role or give it a voice, or what hat do you want your prompt to wear. Be very explicit in your instructions, because the more explicit you are in the prompt, the better the outcome will be for the response. And lastly, you need to set the parameters of the answer. What is the scope or the boundary that you want it to stay within? So for example, my husband was playing around with meta.ai, and I said, let's generate a coloring book page of a giraffe. So he just randomly put in coloring book page of a giraffe and it didn't turn out so hot. And I was like, you got to put parameters, like generate a black and white image of a giraffe looking at a boy on a bike. That's very, very specific of a direction. Another prompt that I've used in the past is, I am a second grade teacher. Reword this passage to be at the second grade level and only use simple sentences. And then it can reword that passage or level that passage for you. So you really have to think about your prompt. Four of the AI tools that were mentioned in this training are Magic School. And if you just Google these, I think most of them are like magicschool.ai, meta.ai. ChatGPT is different. I don't even know what it is, askchat.ai. But if you just Google it, it's going to pop up because it's like a hot topic right now. So Magic School, the biggest thing that I learned from that is you can put a YouTube video in there and then generate quiz questions from the video. So no longer will we have kids just passively watching a YouTube video and not attaching understanding about that video. You can have the video kind of pause and insert questions, or it can, I haven't played with it, so I'm sorry if I'm wrong, or it'll do the whole video and then generate questions that they can answer after watching the video. Again, I have not played with this yet. The one thing I did play with was Magic School. Was I had it make comprehension questions about a passage from a reading curriculum that I use for my deaf and hard of hearing students. So that was pretty cool. I didn't have to generate the comprehension goal questions to address a reading comprehension goal of, after reading a passage at their level, the student will answer 3 out of 5 comprehension questions correctly. I didn't have to create those questions because they weren't in the curriculum, and that takes up time for me to read the passage and generate questions for every single story that student reads in that curriculum. So that is one routine task that AI has freed up for me so that I can focus on teaching her the story and working with her on the vocab and not have to spend all my time creating the comprehension questions. So just be thinking about using AI as a time saver. Another one, again, I have not played with this, is Diffit, Diffit, that has a lot of curriculum resources, graphic organizers. You can create interactive slides, and you can attach standards-based activities using their AI. Next is Canva Magic. It's a graphic design tool. They have an image generator, Magic Media Switch. You can erase the background. There's all kinds of AI related items for editing images in the Canva Magic Studio. The last one I'm going to highlight from this training is Quizizz. I think a lot of teachers already use Quizizz. So you can do assessments, practice pages, review games. You can create things from a PDF, a document, YouTube, from slides. What else? Yeah, it has custom prompts. So a good book you can reference is The AI Classroom by Daniel Fitzpatrick. And another book that I purchased was AI for Educators by Matt Miller. He actually came to our district and did a whole day PD on AI for educators back in June, and it was amazing what he has going on. So check out this book. You can also go to his website. All right, I'm going to switch my screen so that I can show you some IEP at a glance documents that I found on Teachers Pay Teachers and also which one I chose, and I'll explain why. And then later I'll get into a little bit of Kami and how I split a PDF and then added extra pages that were missing from the PDF so that general educators, homeroom teachers can have a complete document of what they need for the IEP at a glance for students. So stay tuned. All right, here we go. Y'all ready for this? So, all general ed teachers have to know about a student's IEP, and the way that we communicate that information, usually at the beginning of the school year and every time an IEP changes, is the classroom teachers will get an IEP at a glance, or it might be called an IEP screenshot, snapshot. So, my problem is our new IEP system, when it generates the IEP at a glance, as you can see, the accommodations are not on this document. So classroom teachers will get on this document the general information about the student's IEP goals, their service hours, but then the whole accommodation section is blank, which that's like accommodations have to be given in the general ed classroom. So that has to be there. So I was thinking, well, so what we do in an IEP meeting is we take a screenshot of the accommodations from the IEP and paste them into the meeting minutes. But when I give a teacher an IEP at a glance, I don't necessarily need them to have the whole IEP meeting minutes document. So I thought, well, I'll go to Teachers Pay Teachers. Well, first I thought, I'll make up my own form. Then I went to Teachers Pay Teachers and I was like, wow, there's a lot of wizards out here. You special ed teachers are wizards with like fillable like PDFs and magical spreadsheets, and look at this cute brochure somebody made. Um Teach like all kinds of stuff. So I was like, well, yeah, I'm not going to create my own thing if this amazing stuff is already out here. So I decided to go with this one by Maura Brown, and it was $10, and I really think it's worth it because on my to-do list I have the IEP at a glance item, and then I also have to develop data sheets for my students for the school year. Well, her document also has where you type in the IEP goals, it zaps them over to a goals tab that has charts and graphs already embedded. So I can input information, it will graph it for me. So I went ahead and got her document so y'all can show her some love, and I'll put the link to her product in the description for you in case you want to check it out. So here's what it actually looks like. This is the blank document. Please start on the Start Here page because this spreadsheet is phenomenal. Like, I don't even know all the formulas she had to put in these cells to make this thing cohesive and work and look amazing. So anyway, start here for a reason. She gives directions on each section. on what to do. She has video tutorials you can watch. Watch the videos because some of the questions I had after zipping through the form to see what all I did, I was like, oh, she told me how to handle that in the tutorial. So I went back and edited what I could edit based on her tutorial. So let me just show you what this looks like. Here's the blank one, first of all. So page 1 is IEP at a glance, and this has all the information in a nice format that gen ed teachers can take and understand, like important information about the student, their schedule with for IEP service minutes, their accommodations, which I edited all of this to match my students' accommodations, and then their goals. And these goals are the things that populate on this goal tab over here that you can put data in to track student progress. So let's look at one that I did. I left the student's name off. So here's with the name, IEP date, next IEP due. There wasn't a blank for when a reeval was due, so I added that down here. And then for disability, most of my students have a primary disability and a secondary disability. So I watched the video tutorial for how to edit this field to make, like right here, I edited and added that in so that it would have both disabilities. And then in the description box, I chose the deafness one because that's primarily the reason why I'm working with her. You can see here how I edited the accommodations. I added, instead of the ELL, I changed this to student language and I put ASL and then other things about her. Here's her service minutes. Here's her goals. So then when I go to the student dashboard tab, this will show me, like this is pulling information from other tabs. So I imagine at the end of the school year, more of this will be filled in. A lot of it's blank just because I don't have any data in here. I did change out the tests to match our district tests. So I can track her beginning of year, middle of year, and end of year data for that. And then I have not done anything with this schedule and this skill. For attendance, this is the attendance page. So if you have a student who struggles with attendance and you want to track it, or if you just want to track the time that they're in your room, not necessarily their overall school attendance, you could do that as well. Strength and interest inventory. This is where, again, she explains this in the beginning, that you can put down their strengths and interests, and then you can kind of keep track of how you might best implement those strengths and interests in different areas. Whoops, sorry. I was playing some Stardew Valley. PBIS, on her blank form, she used Class Dojo data, but I'm using IEP data for the student's behavior. So I changed this, said Class Dojo points, and this said positive and neutral. I just changed this to the weekly behavior data and work completion and respectful voice and body, and then I made those changes in all the graphs as well. And I did change the dates to match the dates for the school year. And once you change the first date, they auto change the rest of the way through. And then you'll eventually have graphs in all those areas. You can also tabulate conduct events if they have a conduct event, and you can edit the fields in here too to match. Like we don't have ISS, it's called PAC, and I just edited some of the terms to match what my district uses. For the goals page, this is where you put down, like on this date, we worked on reading comprehension, we worked on, this pulls from your goals so you can track what you worked on each day. And then here's where the goals populate. Is that the right word? They populate in this section? I don't know. And then down here is where you can keep data, so the date and the percentage correct for all your data points for reading comprehension, decoding, ASL retelling, math. And then for the pre-vote goal, since I have to track data almost every single day, I didn't use the 10 goal slots on the first page. I doubled up and did work completion twice So I would have extra data points to put data in. And then respectful voice and body twice. So I had extra data points on that. And then I did add in the other goals, if we had an altered schedule, I need to know why I didn't collect data that day. I could check class party or activity or altered schedule, like we had testing or something. So I added those two in just so, because sometimes I'm like, oh no, I didn't work with her for 2 days. Well, we had Ames web testing for 2 days, and that's why I didn't work with her. Okay, then it just goes on, and there's 4 quarters worth of data, stuff that you can collect. And she gives you instructions on how you can print this stuff. Then here is where, if you don't already have an IEP progress report system, like on your IEP program, you could do an IEP progress report on here, and it would show the graph. You could put in little anecdotal narratives there, and it just goes on. So there's quarter 1 for all the goals, and then it goes all the way to quarter 4. So I am thrilled that I have this document. Again, super excited to get started. I've only gotten 2 students' information entered because it takes a little bit of time, but once it's done, y'all, it's done, which is so exciting. All right, so last part of this video, and I know it has been so long, and I'm so sorry these videos are not going to be this long all the time, but I do want to show you how I split apart a PDF, added in accommodations pages from the IEP, and then merged it all together into one new document. So stay tuned. All right. Obviously, because of confidentiality, I cannot actually pull up a student's IEP at a glance. So I pulled up just a general PDF, and I am using Kami. I do have the paid version of Kami because I can insert pictures and media and stuff to help my students with accessing curriculum. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend that this is the IEP at a glance, and this is like the blank accommodations page. So I need to split this apart, and I'm going to pretend that the students' accommodations are on this PDF, which would be the IEP where I'm pulling the actual IEP accommodations from. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the IEP at a glance page that is lacking accommodations. And I'm going to go to split and merge document. And it's going to open up a separate like dialog box. Okay. You're going to hit next. And it's going to take those pages or that PDF and break it up into individual pages. So at this point, what you can do is you can delete pages, you can duplicate a page, you can move a page. So if you have a PDF and you want to change the order of something, you can totally do that. But what I need to do is I'm going to say this is IEP at a glance page 1 that has the IEP goals. And this page has the service hours. And this page, oh, blank accommodations. I need to add some accommodations in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my accommodations document. And you can take a screenshot of this entire page, or like I use a little app called Snipping Tool and get it to open. And I'm going to just take a screenshot of the accommodations. I don't really need anything else. I just need those accommodations, right? And this might be different on a Mac, y'all. I don't think it is, but I'm going to copy. Then I'm going to go back to the IEP at a glance, and I'm going to paste. I'm going to Control V or Command V on a Mac. Hopefully this will work. There it goes. So here is that screenshot that I just took of the accommodations from the IEP. And now I'm going to take it up here and I'm going to put it right here. So now I have IEP at a glance page 1, which is the goals, IEP at a glance page 2, which is the accommodation, the service hours, and then I just inputted in the accommodations page from the IEP since it was blank on the original IEP at a glance document. So you just go through and do that with all of this. And you can change the file name up here. And I'll just put these are the ones with IP. And then you hit export. And you can download them. You can open them in another tab in Kami. You can save them to your Google Drive. So for right now, let's just open it in Kami and hit continue. So I don't necessarily want to save this to my Google Drive. So now you can see here's page 1, here's page 2, and here's that screenshot that I added in there. So then you have the option to email this file to people or print it and just put it in their box or however you want to share it with them. So I love Kami because there's so much versatility. And the reason that I even had to do this to begin with, because the day that I showed up to go at work to print off my IEP at a glance pages and my accommodations pages from the IEP, like none of the printers were working at work. Go figure, because when do they work when you want them to work? So I thought I've got to cross this off my to-do list and I can't leave it halfway done and they're not printed. So I decided to electronically handle it this way. And then once this file was done, I uploaded it to our school Google Drive that teachers will eventually access when we are back on contract days. So it still needs to be printed, but at least the entire document is put together despite the printers not working. So that's how I solved that problem. All right, so I have taken so much of your time, but I truly appreciate you hanging in with me for this long. Day 9 was a super busy day. It was so productive, and I'm so excited about all the things that I got accomplished. So, thank you for watching, and thank you for a morsel of your time. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye!